The people who are in the upper end, the 8s and 9s, they tend to be really healthy, and healthy means they have balance and abundance across what I often refer to as the happiness is macronutrients. And I do this, it's very easy in, your audience, because everybody knows it's protein, carbohydrates, and fat. And the best diets are those that have all of them in balance and abundance.
So let's now talk about these 3 components of happiness. You wrote about this in Strength to Strength, but let's go over them again and talk about what each one means.
Happiness is not a feeling. We've established that. Feelings are evidence of happiness. When we look at the happiest people, and the way that we do that typically, there's some indirect ways to figure that out. I could ask your wife, how happy is Peter, and you're not there, and I would get some really probably very accurate information. There's some tests, they're not very good, but I could ask you a series of targeted questions when you're under fMRI. Really the best way to do it, the most cost-effective and efficient way to do that, is for you to anonymously answer a bunch of questions that are sort of like this. Imagine all the people you know where the happiest person you've ever met, really happy, is 10, and the most miserable SOB you've ever met is a 1. All things considered, at this period of your life, not this moment, this period of your life, all things considered, thinking of those people, what's your number? And that turns out to be incredibly accurate. You got to have a large sample, because some people answer it in a wonky way. Mm-hmm. And it has to be anonymous, because if you answer this in front of Jill, you'll probably lie, right? Because people, they don't tell the truth in front of their spouses necessarily, in front of their friends, because they give answers that people want to hear. But if it's really honest and you're by yourself, I'll get extremely effective data from that.
Are those responses normally distributed?
They are normally distributed, but the mean is not 5.
Oh, what is the mean?
The mean is more like 7.5. So there's a bias toward the top part of the scale.
Okay.
It would be better if it were a 5, right? Because then if it were a 5, it would be saying that a 3 is, within 1 standard deviation. There's nothing wrong with being a 3. Nobody wants to be a 3. Numbers have cultural valence, right? They really do. And so people will kind of, it's like, being normal happy, that's like 7, 8, right? And what you find is that most people over the course of their adult lives, early 20s to early 50s, they're between 7 and 9. Most people are from 7 and 9. Most of the people that I talk to, that I work with, especially the executives that I work with one-on-one who are 3s, they're depressed. They're actually suffering from clinical issues. They're behind the line of scrimmage. There's nobody who's like, yeah, I'm pretty normal. I'm like, probably the 40th percentile. That probably makes me a 3.5. 40th percentile is probably a 5, is the way that works.
Okay.
And they would like to be better, and they feel like they're not as good as they should be, despite the fact that in the scale, that looks like the middle of the scale. It's not the middle of the scale. So what do you find? That the people who are in the upper end, the 8s and 9s, and like my wife, 9.5, I don't get it, but there you go. They tend to be really healthy, and healthy means they have balance and abundance across what I often refer to as the happiness is macronutrients. And I do this, it's very easy in, your audience, because everybody knows it's protein, carbohydrates, and fat. And the best diets are those that have all of them in balance and abundance. And you have to get your macros, and you're not going to have, 100% protein. That sounds good for somebody for a week until they become miserable. And so the 3 macronutrients are enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning. Those are the 3 macronutrients of happiness. And none of those, by the way, is straightforward, any more than protein, carbohydrates, and fat is straightforward. It's like, I'll be fine. I'm going to eat a chicken and a stick of butter and a ho-ho. And then I'm going to eat that exclusively for the rest of my life, and it meets my macros, so I should be fine. No, it doesn't work that way. You actually have to understand what each one of those things are: enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning. And you have to have strategies to understand why they're so hard to attain, and what you need to do, exercises to make sure that you can be better and more skillful at attaining each one.